Hello, students. I really hope you all are at the best of your health today. Today, before we start the tutorial, I would like you all to recall the word of kindness that we learned in the last chapter, the unlikely punishment. Yes, the word was generosity. And today we will learn about another word, which is gratitude. It is the quality of being thankful or readiness to show appreciation for and to return kindness. Students, it is often seen that we help someone or we get helped by someone and then we forget to return any kind of act to them. And sometimes, in the worst scenarios, we often forget or to recognize the person. Is it fair? Nope, not at all. No one needs a huge costly gift or a treat at the best restaurant of your place. It's just a small act of kindness, a small act of thankfulness that is worth 1,000 words. So, students, from now onwards, take a pledge of being thankful for everything and anything you have. Now, the story we will read is Salaam, Namaste. It is a short story about a simple act of kindness that made a deep impact on the author Sudha Murthy. Before we start reading the story, let's see who is Sudha Murthy. I really adore this lady. Sudha Murthy is an Indian engineer, teacher, and Kannada and English author. Sudha Murthy began her professional career in computer science and engineering. She is the chairperson of Infosys Foundation and a member of the public healthcare initiatives of the Gates Foundation. We will learn more about Sudha Murthy at the end of the chapter. Now, get set, go. Let's begin the chapter. The characters of the story are the narrator or Sudha Murthy herself, Sheikh Mohammed, Zubeda, and Tabassum. I used to buy books for the Bangalore slum schools we supported from Sheikh Mohammed's tiny shop. He had a shop selling stationery near our office and we would buy the books in bulk from him. We would pick up the books from the shop and let him know when the check was ready. He would then come to the office and collect it. So, Sudha Murthy used to collect stationeries from the shop of Sheikh Mohammed. And whenever they were ready to pay the amount, they used to call him and he used to come to the office and collect it. Once, when he came to the office to get his check, we were celebrating something and sweets were being handed out to everyone. Sheikh was offered some as well. He took a couple and put them away carefully in his pocket. Seeing him do that, I asked, "What's the matter, Sheikh? Why aren't you eating the sweets? Are you diabetic?" So, once they were celebrating something in the office, and of course, as we all do, they were distributing the sweets. Sheikh was there by chance, and when it was offered to him, he just took 2 pieces and he kept them in his pocket. Seeing this, the narrator Sudha Murthy asked him about what's the matter, whether he was diabetic. Sheikh was a shy, taciturn man, and I knew little about him and his family. So I was pleasantly surprised to hear to his explanation. No, madam, I am going to take them home and give them to the kids. They love these sweets. How many children do you have? I had noticed he had picked up only a couple of pieces. I have one daughter, but my niece also stays with us. So there are two children in the house. So, after Sudhamurti asked Sheikh about the reason why he had put the sweets in his pocket, she was informed by Sheikh that he took it for the two children that are at his home. On asking more, she got to know that Sheikh has one daughter and his niece also stays with them. Next, why does your niece stay with you? She is my sister Zubaida's daughter. She is a widow and both stay with us. I realized it must be tough for Sheikh to manage a fairly large household with only the income from his little shop. So I asked, does Zubaida work? Yes, she is a very good tailor. She and my wife do tailoring at home. With their income and the money I earn from the shop, we get by quite well. We are contented. So, when Sudhamurti asked that why does his niece stays with him, he replied that her mother or his sister is a widow, so they both stay with them. And he also informed that his sister and his wife do tailoring together at home and they all are happy. The meaning of the word contented is satisfied. They all are happy and satisfied with the living they are doing. I was touched by his story. Contented is a word rarely heard these days. It's really true, students. Many a times, most of the times, whenever we call anyone, people say we are fine, we are happy. Though they might be very rich from very well-to-do families and they have very least worries about the things around them. Still, no one says, I am really happy or I am really satisfied with my living. But see, this man called Sheikh, though he was not so well to do and they were having some issues, but he happily said that they are living a satisfied life. This moved Sudhamurti. A few months passed and one day I suddenly got a call from Sheikh. He wanted me to give him his check a few days earlier than usual. Why, Sheikh? Is anything the matter? I asked. Yes, madam. We discovered some time back that Zubaida is suffering from cancer. The operation is tomorrow and we need the money desperately. So, after a few months, suddenly she got a call from Sheikh and he asked for the prepaid check. And when she asked for the reason, he said that Zubaida has been detected with cancer and she will be operated the next day. So they need the money. I asked for the check to be sent to him immediately, but I also realized that it would probably not be enough. Such operations are expensive and I was sure he was struggling to raise the money. Yet, he had asked me only for what was due to him and nothing more. So, immediately Sudhamurti asked her finance department to arrange the check for him and send him immediately. But on the other hand, she also knew that cancer operations are very costly, so she wanted to give him more. But she was also a little more moved by him that, see, the man did not beg for any extra money. He did not ask for anything in extra. He just asked to give his due payments. I have learned many lessons in life ever since we started helping people monetarily through the Infosys Foundation. I have seen women hiding their diamond studs in their purses and asking for funds for the poor. I have seen well-off parents declaring their children orphans and applying for scholarships. I even know some men who presented their parents as destitutes so they could get help from us. So, Infosys is a foundation where they also help people. So, while this whole lot of experience, Sudha Murthy has seen women who, though being rich, they used to dress as poor and ask for the funds. Some well-to-do parents ask for the scholarships, and some people presented their parents as poor people so that they can have the facilities. Don't you think, students, these are very cheap practices? Yes, they are. By doing so, these kind of rich people are taking the rights of the poor. Those money, those scholarship, those funds can easily be given to the poor so that they don't suffer. But the rich, though being rich, they are trying to take those facilities and make more money. This is really very bad. I called up Sheikh. Sheikh, tell me, have you managed to get all the money you need for the operation? I have sold all of Zubayda's and my wife's jewelry. I have also taken a loan from the bank. Sheikh, why didn't you ask us? Madam, at least I can afford this much. You should be helping those who are poorer and cannot even afford this. They require your help more than I do. I was touched. I asked him to get the papers and meet me as quickly as he could. He came the next morning and showed me all the documents. I took a look and handed him a check for 50,000 rupees. Surprised and hesitant, he said, "This is a lot of money. I never expected such help to come from the blue. May you be blessed forever." See, Sheikh, although he was trying hard, he sold the jewelries of his sister and wife, and he was trying hard to get the money for the operation. Still, he did not ask, and he said that there are poorer people than him. So Sudha Murthy and a foundation must help them rather than helping Sheikh. But still, Sudha Murthy gave him a amount of 50,000 rupees for the operation. A few days passed and Sheikh sent a message saying the operation had gone well. For a long time after that, we did not hear anything from him. Then, one day as I walked into the office, I found him sitting in the reception, a little girl of about 4 by his side. She was wearing an ordinary cotton dress decorated with laces and buttons. Her hair, neatly oiled, was put up into a ponytail. "How are you, Sheikh?" I asked him. "How is Zubayda?" Sheikh's face was lined with grief. Zubaida passed away a fortnight back. In spite of all our efforts and your help, she did not survive. It was Allah's wish. I wanted you to meet her daughter, Tabassum. So, after a while, after the operation was done, Sheikh was good enough to send her the report that everything had gone well. Then there was silence for a while. After a few days, while Sudha Murthy was entering her office, she saw Sheikh along with little girl. And when she asked about Zubaida, she was informed that Zubaida passed away and that little girl was Zubaida's daughter. I looked at Tabassum. She was scared and ill at ease in this strange office where people bustled about busily. Just to make her feel comfortable, I offered her some biscuits. She took one and then asked me in a shy voice, "Can I take another one for Amina?" Amina was a cousin. I smiled and said, "Of course." I looked sadly at the girl, orphaned so young. Then her uncle said, "बेटी, अम्मी ने बोला था ना, इनको सलाम करो." Putting down the biscuits, the little girl said in a clear voice, "Madam, Ammi ka salam." I was at a loss for words. Sheikh wiped his tears and pulled out an envelope from his bag. He handed it to me, saying, "This is yours. I am sorry. I am a bit late with this." So, after Sudha Murthy got informed that Zubaida was no more, and she felt that the little girl Tabassum was feeling scared at the office, she offered her some biscuits. And see, that little child, she asked for another, and that was for a cousin, Amina, Sheikh's daughter. Just as Sheikh took 2 sweets in his pockets for both the children, this little girl also took 2 biscuits for herself and for Amina. Then Sheikh told him to say what her mother wanted to tell her to Sudha Murthy. That was, "Madam, Ambika Salam." And this was really very touching. I opened it. There were 3,000 rupees in it. Sheikh returned back an envelope to Sudha Murthy and said that this is yours, and I am sorry that I was a bit late to return it. Sudha Murthy was surprised what he is giving her in return. So, when she opened it, she saw that there were 3,000 rupees in it. I looked at Sheikh's face in confusion. "Out of the 50,000 you gave us, we used only 47,000 for Zubaida's treatment. When we came home and she knew she was dying, Zubaida made me promise that I would return the remaining money to you. Don't waste this on me," she said. "Tell madam to give it to some other sick people. She had wanted so much to meet you and give you her salam, but Allah took her away. I promised her I would carry out this last wish." So it was only 3,000 out of 50,000. And when Sudha Murthy looked at Sheikh, he said that they had spent only 47,000 for Zubaida's treatment, and Zubaida, when she was dying, she wanted him to return back this money and not to waste it on her because she was already dying. And she said that this money can be used to help someone else who is suffering. After that, Zubaydah passed away and Sheikh had to carry out Zubaydah's last wish. So he brought back the money to Sudha Murthy. I sat there in stunned silence. I had never met Zubaydah, but the largeness of her heart, even on her deathbed, left me speechless. In spite of her own pain and poverty, she had thought about someone who might be in greater need of help. Her story was a lesson in compassion. She wanted to thank me, and when she knew she would not make it, she sent her daughter. Through the act of sending Tabassum, she was perhaps passing on her positive attitude to the child. I was sure Tabassum would grow up to be a fine human being. Upon this act, Sudha Murthy got speechless. Of course, well, a lady who herself is in deathbed and she is suffering from poverty, she is thinking about someone else who needs the help. That is really very touching, right? And through her act of sending Tabassum, her little girl, to Sudha Murthy for wishing her thank you, she was passing her positive attitude to the child. This is how we learn, right? If we learn bad things, if we see bad attitudes, sometimes we also tend to do so. So let's be good with everyone. Let's teach our young ones better things. I looked at the envelope. This is for Tabassum. May Allah be kind to her. Let her study well. If you need any more help for her, let me know. I'll always tell her about her mother. Our earth is enriched by people like Zubaydah. Sudha Murthy took a look at the envelope and then she gave it back to Sheikh by saying that it is for Tabassum and let her study with that money. And of course, if they need more, he can always ask for help. And she also told that always he must remind Tabassum about her mother Zubaydah, because such valuable people are very less on our earth. Tabassum sat quietly, her big eyes puzzled. One day she would understand and perhaps emulate her mother's courage. Tabassum was very small, just of 4 years, so she did not get the weightage of these words. She was puzzled, but Sudha Murthy was hopeful and she was sure that someday she will be imitating her mother's courage and also doing some great acts of kindness. The story is simple, but it is really very touching. And what we learn from the story, that a small acts of kindness can make someone's day, right? Now, as I told you, we will learn more about Sudha Murthy by the end of the chapter. Here it is. Sudha Murthy is the chairperson of Infosys Foundation, a non-profit organization that provides help and support to the underprivileged section of the society. Okay. She is also a renowned author and writes in both Kannada and English. Her works include How I Taught My Grandmother to Read, Yashashvi, Wise and Otherwise, and Here, There, Everywhere. Students, I really want you all to read these books. Okay, get them online, read the books. The stories are very simple but very interesting, and you will learn a lot from them. Okay, now let's read the summary of the story and recall the whole story together. Salaam Namaste is a story by Sudha Murthy about a simple act of kindness that made a deep impact on her. Sudha Murthy used to buy books for the Bangalore slums from Sheikh Mohammed's tiny books and stationery shop. They used to buy the books and ask him to collect the check later. One day, when he had come to collect his check, sweets were being distributed. He took 2 sweets but put them in his pocket. When the author asked him if it was because he was diabetic, he replied that they were for his daughter and his sister's daughter, the 2 kids at home. On speaking more, the author found out that Zubeda, Sheikh Mohammed's sister, was widowed and worked as a tailor. A few days later, Sheikh Mohammed wanted his payment to be advanced. When the author asked him why, he replied that Zubeda had cancer, so he needed that money for the treatment. The author was impressed that he didn't ask for any more money than was due to him, even though he might have needed more. The author has seen many kinds of people in her line of work. Bullied people who lie about their wealth to get scholarships. Sheikh Mohammed was not like that. So she asked him to bring the papers to her office. When he did, she gave him 50,000 rupees for Zubeda's treatment. Then she did not see him for a few days. When she next time met him, he had come to the office with a little girl. The girl turned out to be Zubeda's child. She conveyed her mother's greetings. Sheikh Mohammed had come to return the 3,000 rupees which were not used up for Zubeda's treatment. Zubeda's wish was to see it returned to that so that other people could be helped with the money. This act of kindness left a deep impression on the author. Students, I can see there are few spelling mistakes in the summary, but no issues. I will be giving you the summary, the text, everything along with the study materials. Okay? Learn from there. Now, it's time for the moral. Be grateful about whatever you have. Many a times we complain, I don't have this, I don't have that, I wish I had that. But just remember, many are not fortunate enough to have what you have. And as of now, be grateful that you have that opportunity to study and learn, because not many people get that chance. Yes, I have seen many children, even you must have seen many children loitering on the railway platforms, near the footpaths, in the markets, selling something or the other, doing something or the other work, right? They are not enough fortunate to get this opportunity. And learning means a lot. Okay? See, Sudha Murthy, we often say that what we will do if we become rich, right? Take the example of Sudha Murthy. She is qualified enough herself. She is the founder of Infosys, and they together, she along with her husband, they together are helping the poor people. So, one day when you will reach that level, then you can also help thousands and lakhs of poor people, and that will be how you will be remembered in history. So, be very careful and thankful for what you have. Now it's time to solve the reading comprehension part of your book. Complete these sentences. Again, the same procedure. If you have the book, you can complete it there, but with a pencil. And if you don't have it, take out your English classwork notebook and write it down. Students, please don't use diaries to write the answers because you will again have to rewrite them in your English notebooks. So use some notebook or some paper to write this down so that it can be fixed with the notebook. Okay? Now, here comes the question. The narrator was acquainted with Sheikh Mohammed because she bought stationery from his shop. Again I am repeating. The narrator was acquainted with Sheikh Mohammed because she bought stationery from his shop. See the spelling of stationery very carefully. Next, the narrator uses the word taciturn to describe Sheikh. It means that Sheikh was reserved and spoke little. The narrator uses the word taciturn to describe Sheikh. It means that Sheikh was reserved and spoke little. Sheikh Mohammed's niece stayed with him because her mother was a widow and she lived with him. Sheikh Mohammed's niece stayed with him because her mother was a widow and she lived with him. Next, Tabassum's greetings for the narrator shows that Zubaydah, her mother, remembered Sudha Murthy. Tabassum's greetings for the narrator shows that Zubaydah, her mother, remembered Sudha Murthy. In this story, we note that Sheikh and Tabassum have something in common. It is that they both remembered to take something back for Amina. In the story, we note that Sheikh and Tabassum have something in common. It is that they both remembered to take something back for Amina. I hope that you all have written down the answers properly. Check for the spelling mistakes again. Okay? Never leave your work unchecked by yourself. And the study materials, the grammar part, everything will be attached in the next video and the materials of the classroom app. Okay? Now I am signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.